YouTube. Welcome back to our 365 challenge where I'm posting a long form video every single day. Today's day 12 and we're going to be doing our Lorwyn Eclipsed limited set review, and today is the color black. As always, we've got Yanks on the call and we're going to be rating every single card 1 through 10 based on how we think they're going to perform in the average limited deck. How you doing, Yanks?
Good. How about you?
Good. Are you excited for black? I know blue's your favorite, but today we get to see a lot of the removal.
Yeah, blue's my favorite color in Magic, but I actually tend to play a whole lot of like Rakdos type stuff in limited because I love removal spell. So, give me a deck with 5 creatures and 15 removal spells, and I'm happy.
I tend to play a ton of black and limited too. I feel like removal spells aren't as good as they used to be.
They're
So I feel
not.
like I'm overdrafting them because so many creatures are like ETBs, 2 bodies, whatever, and I'm overdrafting them, but I still can't help it. So removal
You
looks
just
so good because it used to be amazing, and now yeah.
and you just feel so helpless when like they play something. You're like, I have nothing in my deck that can kill this.
Yeah, and I
Like,
want like seven sold
yeah,
outs or whatever. All
yeah.
right, let's jump in with Auntie's Sentence. 2 mana for a sorcery. You get to choose one. Target creature or target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land permanent from it. That player discards that card, or a creature gets neg 2 this turn. And it's an instant speed. Oh no, it's not instant speed. Sorcery. Oh.
They really don't like putting instant speed discard.
Well, but the neg 2 is typically has been
Yeah,
instant, unless it's
yeah.
an enchantment. Um, I don't know how I feel about this card. I feel like I'm never interested in discard spells in limited, even when they actually are not bad. I still don't play them. But I will say this is starting to get me tempted. The neg 2 is nice.
They've started printing these 2 mana discard spells with some sort of upside because you're right, they were just not playable.
And this
And
feels like the
sometimes,
best one so
by
far.
far, by far, sometimes it's been as small as like exile that card instead, which in some sense is really valuable. Uh, but here, yeah, getting it basically to put it in your deck for free because it's a removal spell. It's not a great removal spell, but
No.
if these cards are always fine to play on turn two.
Yeah.
It's just they're so bad later. That's why you don't ever want to put in your deck. Here, you could probably still get something, especially with -1/-1 counters flying around. You'll have some smaller toughness creatures than usual.
That's true. You get to kill something a little bit bigger. The other thing I was going to say is that like also formats are faster now. Neg 2 is more relevant on 2. To just kill their 2-drop if you're on the draw is going to make a huge difference. I actually think that this is the first time I'm really tempted to play the sort of discard effect. I think this neg 2 really tips it for me. I actually think this is quite playable. I'm going to say this is... I've been impressed with small removal. I'm going to say 5.5.
Yeah, I'm actually a little higher. I'm going to say 6 on this. I think what I like about this card is I think it's really good on turn 2 on the play for the first half and really good on the draw for the back half.
Yeah,
So,
my thought here is that I'm hoping there's better removal. Black has had such good removal that a lot of times this one ends up being at the bottom of the barrel and you just have more than enough to where I don't have to run this, and I'm hoping that's true here. But it definitely could go up if the rest of the removal is butts. Or if there's a lot of X2s that we care a lot about removing.
sure.
All right, next up we have a Barbed Bloodletter. 2 mana for an equipment with flash. When it enters, you attach it to a creature you control for free, and it has equip 2, and the creature is going to get +1/+2. Oh, that creature
Also,
gains Wither
yeah,
until
it's
end
like
of
another
turn.
mechanic. Come on, Matt Tayback. You got to put all these in your list if you're going to make a list. I'm going to rely on it.
That's true. This was not in our welcome back because we made our introduction video, introduction to Lorwyn before all the cards were spoiled, and this was not out yet. So yeah, we did not put this in our mechanic. Wither is an interesting one. I know it's in the commander decks for sure. So that just means if it deals combat damage to a creature, it does it in the form of -1/-1 counters. So that is
That's it.
interesting.
I was actually kind of surprised it wasn't on the list of mechanics to come back because it's an original Lorwyn block mechanic. It involves -1/-1 counters, which are all over the place in this set. So and then maybe it's possible they didn't want to make it a major mechanic because maybe it's a little confusing for some players. The fact that you're dealing damage in the form of something else is a little weird, but putting it on a card here is nice to have as a little callback.
I wonder if there's like a chance that he like didn't post them all on purpose, or maybe it was like related to what's been spoiled. I don't know.
True.
I can't
Fair.
imagine that, but
That could be, or it's
or maybe
it's
this is
just
the only one and he just missed it.
it's the only one. Yeah, that's my guess. Is it's probably the only time.
That said, I don't think it's very good. I think -1 counters are cool, but I typically want to be manipulating them. I think this is kind of okay if you have tokens and stuff, but I don't know how relevant this is going to be in combat.
It's just, I mean, it's
First
the
strike
wither
is
part.
cute if we can find something for first strike, like maybe a Rakdos situation.
The wither part, I'm just kind of mostly looking as a little bit of a bonus.
It is. It's a little bit of a
That's
bonus, but is that enough for me to want a +1/+2 kind of do nothing? I guess it's like a combat trick. I think it's
yeah,
playable, but I don't think it's amazing. So I'm gonna say
agreed.
4. Unless I have some reason to want an equipment in my deck, I don't think I'm super keen on this.
I'll say 4 as well, because actually I said the wither's a little bit of benefit. It can also be a downside sometimes, right? If you're giving them counters to mess around with.
If they block with
In
their
some decks.
tree, then they're gonna get to
Yeah.
draw cards. That sounds
Exactly.
awful. All right. The Bile Vile Boggart. 1
Yep.
mana for a 1/1 Goblin Assassin. When this creature dies, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. That's fine.
It's just like a strictly better, well, maybe not with blight, but basically a strictly better shambling goblin.
Yeah, we've seen stuff
Right,
like this before. I think this is not a super uncommon mechanic or an uncommon printed card. This is a new version, but I think this is fine. I don't think it's great, but
I think most of the times we've seen this, it's just -1/-1, not a counter.
yeah.
So it's a little different, but I mean, this is a place you can put your blight counters and get an effect.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
So
gonna go on a
some
limb and just say that this is very, very 23rd playable. I'm gonna say it's like a 5. It's not something I'm excited to play, but it will make the cut in a good number of decks.
It's the kind of card you want if you have sacrifice effects or blight value in Orzhov. But yeah, it's basically like a 5. It's okay.
Quick shout out to Gaming. Thank you so much for that Prime sub. Appreciate your support. Next up, Bitter Bloom Bearer, 2 mana for a 1/1 with flash and flying at the beginning of your upkeep. You may lose 1 life and create a 1/1 blue-black fairy creature token with flying. So we have a creature Bitter Blossom.
Yes.
I love this card.
I love this card. It is way worse than Bitter Blossom.
Yes.
Bitter Blossom, one of the values of Bitter Blossom is it was hard to get rid of. This is not.
Yeah. It does have flash, so I'm gonna say with flash, you do get the thing, right?
Yeah, you probably get the first one.
Exactly. Whereas if it didn't have flash, I think that really, really hurts it. But here, you could flash it on their end step. You're going to end up with 2 bodies for 2 mana that fly. I think that's solid. I don't think this is a haymaker by any means for a mythic. It's a little slow, a little low statted, but I think it can take over a game. The fairies are going to, we have Convoke in the format as well. So I think this is very good, but I think it's like a 7 good. Not like...
I mean, it is a 2-drop that forces them to remove it.
That's
so
true.
That forces them to spend a removal spell on this. I guess I will also say that the fact that it's a creature and easier to remove is not necessarily a pure downside, because it also gives you a chance to get rid of it, potentially.
Yes, that's true, before it kills you.
Before it kills you.
So yeah, I think it's just a 7.
Agreed.
All right, keeping it going. We have the Blight Rot, 2 and a black for an instant. Put 4 -1/-1 counters on target creature. That's premium removal at instant speed. Sign me up. I call that an 8.
Agree, and this is our first indicator on what's the key toughness level. This is a common speed removal spell where you need to have 5 toughness to survive. So that's the first one of those. As we get through black and red, we'll see what that number is.
All right, next up, we have the Blighted Blackthorn, 5 mana for a 3/7 Treefolk Warlock. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you may blight 2. If you do, draw a card and lose a life.
Treefolk Tribal, you blight onto the other one, and now you get to draw 2 cards.
Well, so that's literally the definition of the Orzhov mechanic, right? It is like blight value
Yep.
grind. So that's what you're going to be doing here. You're going to attack with this tree, blight onto the other tree, sack the counters off that tree to draw more cards, and you just kind of grind them out, which honestly seems fun as hell. I'm super excited for Orzhov, and I always am excited for Orzhov. It's one of my like happy places, but more so than ever because this is a huge value grind. A lot of like it's life gain stuff that we haven't seen that as often as we used to, but like that was very grindy and fun for me. But this is next level. I'm very excited.
Agreed. That this does look like a lot of fun.
Even if it's ass, I'm still gonna draft it a bunch. Rating wise though, it is a 3/7 for 5 mana. You can kind of lock in getting to draw a card. I still don't think it's like out of this world by any means. I'm gonna say this is like what I want to be doing. 5.5.
Yeah. So it's kind of a split card, right? It's either a 3/7 or a 1/5 draw card, lose a life. Because on ETB you can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Or you could put the counters somewhere else too, I guess. Actually,
I think more often you're gonna want to do that, and
True.
It's gonna depend on whether or not your deck can take advantage of those counters. But I think there's gonna be enough stuff just encapsulated in black that can benefit from that counter or manipulate it in some way that I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think 5.5 seems good. But you definitely want one that will go up in the right deck.
Yeah, certainly. If you have the Orzhov with all of the other synergies, other trees, giants, this is going to be excellent. But yeah, I think the average deck is just going to be. There will be some outlets, but sometimes it'll be like a 1/5 for 5 that draws you a card, which is like eh.
Yeah, basically.
5.5. I think it could play up. It's in Orzhov. It's like a 6. Something I'm actively looking for. Bloodline bidding 8 mana for a sorcery with Convoke. Choose a creature type. Return all creatures cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. So what are we doing here? Goblins and maybe fairies? Because like fairies is a little bit more Demir-esque.
Black green elves.
Yeah, elves. Okay.
All that being said, I hate this card. It's an 8-drop. Like, and in order for Convoke to be good, you have to have cards on the battlefield, not in the graveyard.
Yeah, but you don't need a lot of cards. Late game and limited, 2/3 elves on the battlefield, 2/3 creatures on the battlefield. Late game, I still think this is going to be a very strong card in a. The problem with this card is it's a good card in a very good deck. This card doesn't make your deck good. Does that make sense?
I'm not even sure it's that good in a good deck, but
okay. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I think it is a split rating. There's going to be a ton of decks that just even though you're elves, you just don't have enough to run this to be happy with it. It's not going to bring back enough creatures, but I think it's I think it's like a 1, and then I think it's like an 8 in the top of the line typal deck.
Wow, I definitely agree with the 1. I'm not 100% sure I'm even playing this in any deck.
Wild. I think this can win games. I agree. I think the average typal deck, this is like borderline playable, like a 5.
I mean, I would hope almost any 8-drop can win games, but
that's fair. That's fair.
It's this one. Like this feels like for it to be actually good, it has to be in like at least a 7-drop. Because you need to have your graveyard full, and that I don't think that's good enough. It's inconsistent. So I'm like at like a.
I don't think that's true.
1/5.
Like look at the Merfolk. How many Merfolk like every time it taps it makes a 1/1. Think of the Bitter Blossom Berry dude that we just looked at. I think there's going to be a lot of help in this format. I think you could easily have 2 or 3 bodies on board, and have a pretty juicy graveyard. Not every deck, not every typal deck for sure.
I think that's a lot. I think there's a lot of ifs for this card.
I don't think so. Not in a typal set. My average deck, even including typal decks, my rating is this is like a 5. Pretty questionable. Sometimes you'll want it, sometimes you won't. But if your deck is a banger, if you're sitting at like 15 plus elves, This is gonna be an 8. This is gonna be great.
So like if my deck's that good, I don't want to risk getting my hand clogged up with an 8 drop. Like I
I
don't need
do.
it.
I do. Because it like all day, like you're playing against another deck that's trading, right? You're trading resources the whole time, and you end up with just like 2 or 3 elves on board. And then you want this as your big finisher. There was another one, oh god, what was it? There was it was like one black, black, green, green or something that we fought about that at the end, I think it was Strixhaven that just like brought all your shit back. And I was like in love with it and you hated it.
Yeah.
It gives me the same vibes. I forget what that card was called. It was like Casualty something.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was Strixhaven, but I do remember the card. Maybe it was Strixhaven. I don't know. It was a while ago.
I loved that card. Anyway, so what was your rating? Just like a 1?
Like a what? No, it's not unplayable, but I think it's mediocre at best. So I have it like as like a 1.5.
Okay. Fair, fair. I'm actually with you with a 1.5. Like I think the average even typal deck is around a 5. I'm just really high on it in a very good deck, and I think it does exist. The Boggart Prankster.
Did we skip a card?
Oh, we did, because I moved to it, and then we kept talking. The Boggart Mischief. 3 mana for a Kindred enchantment. It's a goblin. When it enters, you may blight 1. If you do, create 2 goblins. Whenever a goblin creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Huh. So it's like Bastion of Remembrance specifically for goblins that makes goblins. I'm into that.
Yeah, I think this card's pretty good. It feels like, well, I mean, Rakdos. Anytime you're doing a goblin typal thing, you're trying to go wide.
And they want to sacrifice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to bring them all back with that card and then get double the value.
No, they're all tokens. They don't go to the graveyard.
Not all of them. I think this is cute. I don't think it's like a home run by any means.
No.
But the average deck is not going to want this, right?
The average deck might not, although maybe it's about half of the black decks do, because Orzhov might.
Okay, wait. Let me actually reassess this from a different perspective. I was thinking not enough decks are going to have enough goblins to care about this. Yeah. But do we just want 3 mana blight 1, make 2 bodies? Is that just reasonable enough?
I think Orzhov would want that.
Yeah. I think like a Rakdos sacrifice type thing, if that is a thing, that might be viable. This might be more playable outside of like heavy typal than I initially thought.
I agree. I still think it's probably not going in every black deck, but I do think in Orzhov and Rakdos, and then probably not Golgari, because that seems to be pretty heavily elves typal. But Simic is kind of a little bit wishy-washy on its stuff. That could go there, I would guess.
I'm going to say this is like a 5 with a ceiling that goes quite high in a goblin deck. I think in a goblin deck, this is much closer to like a 6.5, 7. That's something I'm actively looking for in this deck.
I think that's right. It's definitely kind of filler in the other black decks, but it can be played. So yeah, I think 5 makes sense.
In my Orzhov deck, you can put it on the tree, and then you get to draw a card and make 2 goblins. All right, Boggart Prankster, 2 mana for a 1/3 Goblin Warrior. When this attacks, target attacking goblin you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. I don't like it.
It's nice that it doesn't have to attack, but...
Oh, that's true. I did read this in my brain as when it attacks, and I was like, but you're a fucking 1/3. Now, in fairness, it attacks as a 2/3 for 2 mana, so that's not bad.
This feels just kind of like a 5.
Yeah.
Just kind of a filler card. You know, if you're heavy goblins, you'll take it and put it in there.
Yeah.
If you desperately need a 2-drop, you can live with it.
That's true. I think if you're heavy goblin synergy specifically, then these things will pile on to each other and make like a nice little package of good stuff. But on its own, for the average black deck, I don't think it's something I care about. So I'm going to say it's like a 4 for anything that's not goblins.
It's fair. I think there'll be enough times in other black decks where you just want a 1/3 or a place that you can a cheap body that you can put multiple blight counters onto.
That's true. Especially a 1/3 that attacks as a 2/3 for 2. Like that's actually fine fine statted. So maybe it is just higher when you look at it that way. The Bog Slitherer's Embrace. 2 mana as an additional cost to cast this. Blight 1 or pay an additional 3. So that's fine. And it exiles target creature. So it's interesting here that it's split. Usually it's 1 mana, pay 4.
Yep.
Or sack a creature. Well, this is like Blight 1, pay 3. And that makes some sense because the Blight 1 is like a smaller price to pay than sack a creature, I think. So it makes a little bit more sense that you have a split cost.
And that it's sometimes even a benefit.
Yeah. I think this is a very cute way to tweak and turn the knobs here for limited to give us a different play experience with a very similar card. Because, you know, we've had Bone Shards a billion times. Yeah, this is premium removal. I think this is an 8.
I think so. It's exiles too. We haven't seen a ton of graveyard stuff, but there's always some in the set, so that's nice to have.
Or dies abilities, right? There's goblins that do die things,
for sure.
So when that will get rid of that. So even if they don't have graveyard stuff, which I agree with you, it's certainly there. However, there are other benefits too. So I think this is definitely the definition of an 8 premium removal. The Champion of the Weird, 4 mana for a 5/5 as additional cost to cast this. Behold a goblin and exile it. You pay a life, blight 2, target opponent blights 2. Activate only as a sorcery. When this creature leaves, you get to return the goblin to your hand. Well, so I'm assuming, goblins have like a ton of fodder goblins, so you can blight pretty easily and your opponents might not be able to. In like an Orzhov, you might want to blight, and again, you can take advantage of that, whereas your opponents like, you know, fairies and merfolk aren't interested in blighting their own stuff, so you can just kind of brutalize them. Plus, it's just a good rate, right?
4 mana for a 5/5, yeah.
You have to have another goblin.
Oh, or just in your hand. Doesn't have to be in play.
So but you have to have one. So, like, you can't be like, you know, Orzhov trees with like 2 goblins to play this.
Sure. There is a full, for all of these kind of champion cards, there is a full cycle of hybrid changelings. So there's 10 of them, I believe. Or maybe they're not all changing, but there's a bunch of them. So that'll help.
Yeah, that will certainly help.
At common.
This is of the champions, this is the one that stuck out to me as like, well, for the average deck. Certainly I have no reservations if I feel like I can reasonably have a goblin. I just don't know how much the average deck is going to goblin. And I didn't feel that way when it came to like the Kithkin. I don't know why.
I mean, I think part of that is we're seeing goblins for the first time in black. Like, it feels a lot like Merfolk did in white. It's like, it's kind of there. I think we're going to see a lot more goblin stuff in red.
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing Merfolk in white, and it's like, there's some, but then
there was very few. You're right. Yeah. But even now that we've done white and blue, it still felt like there was less Merfolk than Kithkin.
Well, we'll see, right? Because we haven't seen green. There might be very few Kithkin in green.
But I just mean that's the Azorius archetype. Is it's not Bant Merfolk.
No, I think between blue and white there were definitely more Merfolk than Kithkin, just in white.
The fact that it's even like close, though, I felt like there was more Kithkin support there than there was in like 1.5 of the other colors. I mean, we'll see. I would be interested to see how many Kithkin. Maybe there's less Kithkin in green and it averages out. But it felt a lot heavier handed.
I have to imagine that's something they would know going in if they're going to do that and try to at least make it pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like if there are less of them, but they are more impactful. You know what I mean? Like there are different ways to balance that. I think you can have a typal deck that doesn't need 20 bodies, you know, a creature count of 20, and you can still have like typal fairies that are supported in some way with a smaller creature count. So we'll have to see when we get to green. I would love to know what the final numbers are on those. I think this is very good. It doesn't matter if if you cannot reasonably have another goblin, then you're not looking at this. So this rating would be a split. But for the sake of assuming you can cast this, we're going to just rate it very highly. I think this is like, it only activates as a sorcery. I think it's like a 7. I think I can manipulate this enough and be very happy with what it's doing and break parity.
I think so too. You know, it feels very symmetrical, that ability, but the fact that you get to control when to activate it means most of the time you're going to be getting some advantage out of that.
I also think black is just in general going to be able to take advantage of it far more than any of the other colors, with the exception of like white, which is the parent color, sister color for blighting.
Well, red too, to some degree.
Sure. You agree with the 7?
No, sorry. I do agree with 7.
What was the other color you were talking about?
No, you're right. Red, black is goblins, not white.
Creekwood Safe Right. 2 mana for a 5/5. It enters with 3 -1/-1 counters on it, so it's a bear. At the beginning of your end step, if there is an elf card in your graveyard and this creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove it. Remove a counter. That's cool. So it just gets better and better. This is like a 6. I want this. A 2-drop that becomes a 5/5 over time. Sign me up.
Yep. 6 makes sense.
With a relevant creature type? Oh, yeah. Darkness Descends. Sorry about that, chat. 4 mana for a sorcery. Put 2 -1/-1 counters on each creature. Huh. This feels like an excellent sideboard card.
For sure.
Something you're definitely going to want to be picking up very highly, but maybe something I'm not playing all that often in best of 1 for Arena. Because we have goblins and elves in the black pairing and fairies. I don't think -2/-2 is going to be great across the board for most of those creature types, right?
That is true.
Maybe Orzhov, like Orzhov trees. I'm running this main deck, but the average deck, I don't think so.
I think that's probably right. I think this definitely does feel like like you said, like a sideboard card.
So this is the kind of card that's like a 4. You're probably not playing it, but I'm picking one of them up in paper for my sideboard every single time. Like you always want like a naturalize. You always want one of these. This feels very, very solid to pick up.
That's fair.
Do you like it at a 4?
I do.
I think it's something that you can certainly play in your decks. And if you're Orzhov, you probably will. But the average, I'm trying to cut this card, I think. Only because of how those creature types line up.
Yeah, not that this would ever be like a green effect, but it would be much better in a green deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe like, well, it's Golgari's Elves, though.
Golgari's Elves. But you want to play this in like Gruul.
Yeah, if you end up with all of the like black Orzhov cards and you end up with all the Gruul green cards, then maybe you're putting this in your deck, but probably not. Next up, we have a 1 mana Elf Warlock. It's a 1/2, and you can tap it to Blight 1 and Surveil. You can tap it Blight 2. Exile target card from a graveyard. During your turn, you may cast a creature spells from among cards you own, exiled with this creature, by removing 3 counters from among creatures you control in addition to paying their costs. So it allows you to add blights. It allows you to remove blights and replay cards out of your bin specifically, while also controlling their bin. I like that.
Yeah.
This seems very good.
I agree, especially for a 1-drop like this. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not nearly as good as, but it reminds me of like Deathrite Shaman. It's like it's a 1 mana 1/2 elf that does a million things.
Yeah, it kind of really only does one though, right? Like they're all in service of the same thing. Whereas like Deathrite Shaman was like random as shit. It was like add a mana, deal 2 damage, snap a selfie, and
Deathrite was a 1 mana planeswalker.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was very.
But it just maybe because it's an elf and it's a 1/2 for 1, like, and it does so much more than you'd expect a 1-drop to do.
Agreed. But yeah, it makes sense. You pay 1 surveil to try to bin things into your graveyard, and then you pay 2 more blight. You get to then exile it, and then you get to replay it while removing those blights. It's very slow, but for a 1-drop, you cannot get more impactful than this. So you have to rate it highly, even though it's slow as molasses.
And you can both blight abilities are available at instant speed. Which doesn't matter too much for the surveil, other than being able to do it like in your own upkeep, but it could matter for exiling something from a graveyard. Or it also will let you like blight 2 onto a creature that's being targeted with removal, so it was going to die anyway.
Yeah. Something like this also gets a little bit better the better cards you have in your deck, so that's cool too. Rating wise, I think again it's slow, but it can give you the long game value to win like any sort of stalemate or any sort of like just long game. I'm gonna call this a 7.
I think it's a 7, and it's also my first contender for a card that is going to be completely misplayed at pre-release, because somebody is going to try to cast cards that they don't own with that.
Absolutely. I mean,
Because
Boiling Rock did something similar in Avatar. It you can just eat cards out of the graveyard and you can replay allies out of your bin. And I definitely saw people try to do that. Next up, we have a 4-mana 3/3 with Menace. When this creature enters, mill 3 cards. Then, if there is an elf card in your graveyard, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. It's kind of cool. These kinds of things are always a little iffy to me because I like, oh, these kind of cool, and if you do them in multiples, you can just drain them out, but you mill yourself. 3/3 with Menace for 4, though, I think that's playable, and I think we're going to want stuff in our graveyard. It's a good creature type. I've got to give this at least a 5.
I think I'm going to give it a 5, but that's mostly just in hope that you want a lot of elves for your elf deck, which I imagine you do.
And Elves is Golgari, which is infamous for graveyard manipulation, so it feels like it's at every step of the way doing what you want.
It's also infamous for generally being pretty bad.
That's Simic.
It's not as no. Simic is infamous for being very bad. Golgari is infamous for being pretty bad.
Next up, we have a 5-mana instant return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then, if it isn't your main phase, you blight 2. That's fine. I like that there's a benefit to playing it in your main phase, well as also maybe you just are willing to sneak them. It doesn't come into play tapped like some of them, and you pay that blight price, but the blight price might be a benefit too in like an Orzhov.
Yeah, some decks there's a benefit to playing this not in your main phase.
I'm guessing blights are going to be more negative than beneficial.
Agreed. I think so.
It is fun to dream, but I think this is going to be the downside of it. And a lot of times you're just going to want to play this main phase. These are always solid. I think I have been playing more of these. I don't know that I think it's always correct, but I think these are solid. So I'm going to say this is like a 5.
I think so too. It's a lot of mana, but the instant speed thing is nice even if it comes at a cost. And you can, based on the way it's worded, you can blight onto the creature you're returning if you need to. So it's not like you have to kill off your 2/2 or something.
Next up, we have a 4-mana 3/2 Fairy Rogue with Flying. When this creature enters, you may blight 1. If you do, each opponent discards a card. I like that. I like having the ability. I mean, it's pretty low statted if you don't.
Sure.
4-mana 5/2 flyer. That's actually bad.
3/2.
3/2 flyer. I don't know what I said. We've been getting like 3/3 flyers that like untap themselves, or 3/3 flyers that do something.
I mean, yeah, the white Windrake needed 3 abilities to be playable at 3 mana 2/2. So
yeah, this actually feels really bad if I don't actively want to be blighting things.
Either I need to actively want, or have like a bunch of tokens that I don't care if I have to. Yeah, because I need to get that card, because otherwise you're only getting two power, 1 toughness worth of stats.
I also didn't see like a lot of fairy synergy specifically. While there is fairies, it's sort of like a sub-supported typal deck, so you're not getting like fairy lords and stuff in the same way that you are for the other typals. So I actually think this is actually weaker than I thought initially.
The fairy synergy, for lack of a better word, just feels like a lot of them have flash, which is why they're good together, because you put a lot of flash things together, and that's good.
Yeah, but there's no lords or no like, every time you cast a fairy, get a fairy counter or token or whatever. So
No,
I
I
actually
just
don't like this
I
card.
just I just scrolled through multicolor just to make sure, and yeah, there's no fairy lord.
I think this is like a 4 in the average deck.
I think so too. It's just
This
every part
feels
of
like it
this is
has a
like
home
slightly.
in Orzhov and nothing else.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Gloom Ripper, 5 mana for a 4/4. It's an elf. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +X/+O till end of turn, and up to one target creature an opponent controls gets -O/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control plus the number of elves in your graveyard. Holy shit. Pumping another elf was just fucking unnecessary. It doesn't even pump an elf. It pumps any creature you have.
Any creature.
And
Yep.
it didn't need that. It's a
You seem irritated by this card.
it's good. This is an 8.
Yeah, it is.
There certainly are.
It's an 8 in your elf deck.
And I think that elf will be highly supported, that having 7 elves in your deck, this is still going to be excellent. And
I agree.
Think, I don't think 7 elves are going to be hard to do.
I just don't know if it's an 8 in like Rakdos.
I agree. This is pretty average. Like, I think it's like 7
it's still good.
in like the 7 elf deck, just because you have half an elf color. And then I think it's like end the game in like a true dedicated elf deck.
I don't know about end the game. It only happens once, the ability.
In Golgari?
No, this ability only happens once.
We literally just read a card that brings it back into play at instant speed. Like,
Sure.
What are we talking about here? This is Golgari, Yanks.
But that's ever so now. So like every black card we have to look at that way, because
and your other elf is trading up by 1 billion, or just killing them outright.
Just eating a 1/1 token.
Maybe. And killing their best thing, yeah. And you get to do it. Oh, so this is gross.
I think the card's an 8 because you're going to probably get a guaranteed 2-for-1 out of this card, but I don't know if it's really nothing more than a 4/4 after the ETB, which is fine. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a very good card, but I don't know if it's game breaking.
We saw multiple cards that bounce things back to your hand already. Oh yeah, this is great.
But when you do that, you start talking about every ETB effect. Then we see multiple cards.
Not all of them give +X/+O and -O/-X. Look, no, that's a huge swing.
That's fine, but I don't think we can analyze every ETB effect as it can happen infinite number of times.
No, not infinite. But you were saying it only happens once, and for rares like this, I'm not spending a 7 mana bring my card back to make a 1/1 elf token on ETB. Like, that's not the way it works.
I don't think the average case for this card is you get to use it 3 times. The average case for this card is you get the ability once.
Certainly not, but I think the average case, a 3-for-1, is good enough for me.
Is very good. Oh, I'm not debating your rating. I'm giving it the same rating. I just don't think we can assume it's going to keep happening.
I think it's very reasonable that you get more than one trigger. In Golgari specifically, if this was on a red card or something like that, then I'm more on board. But the graveyard manipulation and bouncing of Orzhov, I think this is going to surprise you. In a dedicated elf deck, specifically. But I think it's going to be good even in any deck. We're same rating. Gnarlbark Elm, 3 mana for a 3/4 tree folk. When this creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it, pay 3, remove 2 counters from this creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 till end of turn. Holy shit.
Yeah, so 3 mana, this gets +2/+2 counters basically to nullify those.
And kill your thing.
Something else dies.
And have an outlet for all of your other blighting. This would make me want to run those fairies, right?
Sure, yeah, exactly.
That fairy we just saw, like, if I've got stuff like this is excellent.
Agreed. I think this card's pretty great. It's
And,
expensive, right? It's 6 mana to get that first effect, but that's
yeah, but it's still like a 3 mana
it's
1,
still a
2, which is low.
yeah. So it's a 6 mana 3/4 kill something, which is good, and especially because you can split up the mana cost.
Dude,
Over
I'm so
time.
high on these trees though. Let me tell you, holy shit! I've never
Also,
when we came into this set review and you told me what was the typo you were the most excited about, tree was not on my fucking radar. But
yeah,
here we are. I am so hyped for trees. Um,
these trees should also have reach, by the way. But
this is 7. I'm into 7. I'm so
I don't
high on
know.
the trees. I don't know what to tell you.
I think I'm going to say 6.5. I'm a little lower, but it's a good card.
It's probably closer to a 6, but I don't care. It's so good. Oh my god. It makes my heart so happy. On Decked Out week 1, I'm playing. We should do another Lorwyn episode. We did the precons and the upgrades, but I should make a dedicated tree deck. A
So
value Orzhov grindy tree deck. Ah.
So I could get you to give me like 8 sheep for some wood.
Yes, absolutely.
In the set.
Grave Shifter, 4 mana for a changeling shapeshifter. It's a 2/2. When it enters, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the hand. It's Gravedigger. That with a relevant creature type. This is excellent.
I think this card is probably very good. This is one that just makes me question, like, has this been power crept out?
7. I think this is excellent value.
I'm gonna also be just kind of like the last card, 6.5, because I don't necessarily think it's better than the last card. So, and you had it both at 7, so your rating makes sense too.
Yeah, I think the Gravedigger might be a little bit better.
I've historically loved Gravediggers. There's a part of me that worries it's like Frostlinks, that it's been power crept
out. But now it's a relevant creature type.
Sure, which helps.
Next up, we have the Grub Storied Matriarch, 3 mana for a 2/1 Goblin with Menace. When this creature enters or transforms, return up to 1 Goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. And then at the beginning of the second main, you can flip it for 1 red, and it'll turn into another same stat line, 2/1 Menace. When it attacks, you may blight 1. If you do, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the blighted creature. Except it has at the beginning of the next end step, sacrifice it.
So you get a 3 mana 2/1 Menace that hopefully buys you a card back. Note that it's a goblin card, not creature, so you could get back like the Kindred enchantment.
Yeah, or a shapeshifter.
Or a shapeshifter.
So I'm happy with the front side enough to think that you're gonna get that trigger more often than not.
Yep. And then the backside, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. It takes a little bit of time to get going, but I do think it's good. The blighting is a little rough if you don't have outlets for it, like the tree, which shouldn't be too bad. It also needs to attack, which is kind of rough.
Yeah, it does have Menace, which helps.
Yeah.
But
it seems pretty soft. It seems pretty easy to disassemble, so
But I guess the idea is you've already gotten a card's worth of value, hopefully. So
yeah, I think this is a 7.
Would you be happy with this card in not Rakdos?
I think I'm okay in not Rakdos. I feel like there will be enough goblins and shapeshifters just loosely for me to be willing to pay a 3 mana 1/2.
Yeah, just to get the front side of this card.
To get the front side with like 4 or 5 other goblins in my deck, I think I'm still running it.
But it's probably like
certainly not at a 7. It's probably like a 5.5.
5.5, yeah. So I kind of feel similar. So I'm probably going to say it's like a 6 on average.
Yeah.
More often than not, you're not going to be Rakdos.
That's true. So the premise of our set reviews is the average deck, and you kind of want to encompass all colors. But I kind of look at these like we do multicolors. Because you'll notice when we do our multicolor set review, we assume you're in those colors, right? You're not tiptoeing around other, oh, this isn't very good in Orzhov, but it's pretty good in Rakdos. Like, I'm just kind of assuming you're Rakdos. And that is not true, because this has some upside in that you don't have to play it, and it's good enough to not play it in Rakdos. But again, I'm just kind of rating it as a multicolor card in my head. So I think you're right. It is probably closer to a 6 based on how we do monocolor cards. But in Rakdos, I think I'm willing to give it a 7.
I think that's fair in Rakdos. I think I treat these a little differently. I agree completely with you on the multicolored cards, because you obviously have to be in that archetype in those color pairs to play those.
And you're right. In this one, you don't, and I'm just kind of assuming that you are. So I think that is a little unfair for sure. Next up, we have the Gut Splitter Gang. I want jackets made with that. 4 mana for a 6/6 goblin at the beginning of your first main phase. You may blight 2 if you don't lose 3 life. And you probably want, if you're playing this, you probably want to be blighting, or you have goblins you don't care about. Trees. God, the tree is so good. So good.
It's kind of like a long tradition of Black having like 4 mana 6/6s with some like optional downside.
Yeah.
Back to like Desecration Demon and stuff like that.
I don't know how to rate this. My instinct is that it's a little too wild for me. I feel like I'm just gonna like take 6 and they're gonna blow it up and chump it with a 1/1 and then blow it up, and then I'll be very sad.
I think I kind of like this card, because I think if you're in Rakdos, you're probably somewhat aggressive. So you don't mind racing a lot of times in those type decks. You can also just you play this the next turn. You can put the counters on it. You've still got a 4 mana 4/4, which is okay.
That's true.
Assuming you have nowhere else to put the counters, and you don't want to lose the life.
Yeah.
Like giving you the option.
It's playable. I just think it's a little too wild for me. So I'm gonna say this is like a 5.
Yeah, I'm a little higher on it. I think it's a 5.5, but not much.
Heirloom Auntie, 3 mana for a 4/4, enters with 2 -1/1 counters on it, and whenever another creature you control dies, surveil 1 and remove a counter. I'm here for that. That seems good.
Yeah, 3 mana 2/2 that grows. Yeah, and you're in a deck that's going to have fodder to die. It doesn't. Yeah, it is a creature you control. So yeah,
it's a relevant creature type. It's going to grow. It starts out lower than its mana, but it gives you card selection and grows higher than its mana. So I think those two things are pretty washable. I think this is a solid card. I'm looking to play this. This is like a 6.
Yep, agreed. 6.
Iron Shield Elf, 2 mana for a 3/1. Discard a card. This creature gains indestructible till end of turn and tap it. This is usually in white, and it's usually pretty good.
It is true. You see this on like some sort of like warriors or something in white. Yeah, well, this is a warrior, I guess. But human warrior usually.
It's either usually like a 3/1 or like a 2/2 with enlist. We saw.
Yeah, we've seen like 1/1 that gets +2/+0 or +3/+0 when it attacks. Sometimes.
And then you can discard a card.
And then you can do that, yeah.
These cards are usually pretty good. I don't know how the color swap is going to do, but I feel like we've seen a fair amount of things that want and return creatures and stuff out of graveyards. So I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt. Plus a 2 mana 2/3 is just always like curvable for aggro decks. Elves are going to want 2-drops that are elves. So
yeah, also just one notable thing so far in Black, we haven't seen any removal spells that say destroy. Mm-hmm. It's all been -1 counters or exile.
Yeah.
So now it'll probably work on some red damage spells, or we saw some white ones that are like destroy target or deal 4.
I think Blight does make this worse.
That as well. Although I guess Blight is your choice, right? You're only putting Blight on your own creatures, so you'd have to do it.
Yeah, but if their removals or whatever says like, opponent blights and this is the thing you have.
Yes.
Or we saw that 2-drop, that the first card that's -2/-2.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everything is minuses. Or
yeah. So this is just worse than like a normal set, because it's usually like a shock or a burn or something like that, where everything in Black here is trying to kill it. This is probably just like a 5.
I think so. It's if you're aggressively signed, you're going to be thrilled with this card, regardless.
All right, next up, 3 mana, 2/1. When this creature attacks, draw a card and lose a life. It has to attack. It doesn't just tap.
So it probably gets to do that exactly once.
And it's overcosted.
So like you're kind of hoping you're trading this off for like a 2-drop and getting a card back. Hopefully, like that's like the upside on this card.
Yeah, but even then, they're like, even if you're on the play, you're still attacking on their 3, so they probably still like have a 2/3 to block this. This feels bad.
Yeah, 1/3, like a 6/6 that has 3 counters on it or something.
I guess. Yeah, this is bad. I do not like this card. I'm sure it's playable. Like in the elf ball synergy, I just want every elf I can play, and this doesn't feel that bad to where I'm not playing this in an elf deck. But in any other deck, no. And even in my elf deck, I'm like, I wish this was my other 3-drops.
Yeah, this is just pretty unimpressive.
4. Unless I find some way to cheat the shit out of this, like, some secret tunnel or something. I don't think we're playing this very much outside of a dedicated elf deck.
Agreed.
All right, Moon Shadow, 1 mana for a 7/7 with Menace. It enters with 6 -1/-1 counters on it. When 1 or more permanent cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, while this creature has a negative counter, you get to remove a counter. It says 1 or more permanents, so it's each individual permanent doesn't trigger it. It's the number of instances in which you're milling, not the number of cards. So that's a little worse.
Yeah, if you mill 3 permanents, it's just removing 1 counter.
Yep, but every time your creature dies, you get to remove a counter, which is good.
Yeah, or if they make you discard.
I'm playing a 1/1. I'm playing a 1/1 menace for 1 that slowly over time becomes a 7/7. I'm playing that card.
I think it's probably pretty clear that this thing gets big pretty quickly by the fact that this is a mythic.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's because of like constructed stuffs, but like
Sure.
Just even if it gets bigger slowly as we trade stuff off over turns, I'm more than happy to do that. I don't know that this is like game ending, but I don't think I'm ever cutting this card. I'm gonna say this is a 7.
Yeah, I think so.
Next, no. I thought of something. I was like, you could because there's some cute stuff you can do to remove counters, like but that's like the rare elf that can remove 3 counters to play a thing.
Yep.
So you can make it bigger, but you also have to blight to remove things. So at the very least, that's only 1 additional -1/-1 counter. So it's not important. Let's see. Mornsong Aria, 3 mana for a legendary enchantment. Players can't draw cards or gain life. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches their library for a card, puts it into their hand, then shuffles. Huh.
So this is just a kind of a throwback to Marilyn of the Mornsong from was that from Morningtide, which was players can't. There's a creature 2/3 that players can't draw cards, and then it had that second ability.
I don't like this card.
Me neither. I think this is a flavor card, or find a way to break it in Commander or something.
I'm not interested in doing this. I'm gonna say this is a 1.
We generally don't like tutors in limited because most of the time your cards aren't good enough to be adding an extra mana cost, and here you're adding 3 mana effectively on the first one and 3 life.
And letting them be the first to tutor.
Letting them to do it and skipping your draw step. So yeah, this is just terrible for
No, thank you. For anyone just joining us on Twitch, this is a limited set review specifically, so keep that in mind. Next up, we have the Mud Button Curse Tosser. It's wild.
4 words slammed into 2.
1 mana 2/1 as additional cost to cast this. Behold a Goblin or pay 2. And then it can't block. And when this creature dies, destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. That is a lot of words.
So this is something that you want to be. This is a place to blind onto, right? Because you can't block, and they will probably try to avoid killing this if they have something you really want to kill. But blight gives you a way to kill this off yourself.
Yeah, so you're paying 1, beholding a Goblin, and then you're getting a slight upside by blighting it to then destroy a small creature, and your other creature is slightly better because you effectively got a free blight.
And maybe it's a 2/1 for 1, so maybe you're getting some damage in first too.
Yeah, and it's a Goblin, so it does Goblin things. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not exciting. It's what Goblins wants to be doing, I think, so I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt there. Also, it's like a 5.5.
This is like a card that's probably on the whole not that great, but it's one of those like when when your opponent pulls off that stuff, it just feels terrible for you.
Yeah. Next up, Nameless Inversion, 2 mana for a Shapeshifter, Kindred. It's a changeling. Target creature gets +3/+3 and loses all abilities. Oh, it's an instant.
+3/-3.
+3/-3.
This is a reprint from, I assume it's the original Lorwyn block. I know it was in Modern Masters.
I remember Augur Spree was +4/-4. That was pretty brutal.
It was from original Lorwyn and then Modern Masters 2015.
It's instant. You're going to get some Shapeshifter Kindred benefits. So anything that, like, whenever you cast an elf spell, do a thing. I will say I haven't seen as many of things like that care. There's been a few, 1 or 2, but not a wild number. So I still think this is very, very good at instant speed. I'm going to say this is like a 9. Or an 8. Sorry, premium removal is an 8.
I think it's an 8 too. It's nice with something like Grub, right? Because it can get you back a Goblin card from your graveyard, so you can get a removal spell back.
That's nice. Next up, 4 mana for a 2/3 flying lifelinker. When you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature.
So this is kind of like the fairies theme. Right?
Yeah.
It's not really fairies themselves, but so many of them have flash that.
But this is the first one that's I've seen like a payoff for having the other flash creatures. The other ones were all just good on their own, and the idea of like constantly holding something open and then your opponent never knowing what you have. This is like a cool payoff. I really like this card.
And it's nice in that it feeds into your blight if you want to be blighting onto your own things,
or you can kill their stuff.
You can kill their stuff, yeah.
Even if I'm just like a handful of like instant speed removal spells, like the one we just saw, like this is really good even if you don't have a ton of fairies.
Exactly. It's a night. This is like a nightmare card to have on the battlefield for your opponent in combat if you have like any mana open.
And flying and lifelink to boot. Like the lifelink is really nice. I think in Dimir this is going to be phenomenal, and I think I'm willing to play this in any black deck. I'm going to call this like a 6.5 with some upside for Dimir.
I think so. It's probably worst in Golgari, I would guess, just because green, you don't usually have a ton of instant speed stuff, and very rarely do you see flash creatures.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you start looking at like Avatar: The Last Airbender, most of the fights, like a raucous audience is instant now.
True. Yeah, you have a couple. Like every color has a couple removal spells usually. Yeah. Certainly, Dimir has the most instant speed stuff. But yeah, I think
if I'm in Dimir, I like it.
Yeah.
Very high, like easy 7.
Yep.
Perfect Intimidation, 4 mana for a sorcery. Choose one or both. Target opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. Okay, costs a little bit high for a mind drop, but it's an exile. Remove all counters from target creature. Oh, I like that too.
So you get both effects.
Can you do this to the 1-drop?
Yeah, yes.
Have a 7/7 Menacer on turn 4. I'm not usually super high on Minotaurs. It costs one more than a typical Mind Rot. I do like the second ability as a tack on. I don't know how if I love the full mana for it though.
I don't either. I'm especially in a set where removing all counters is not like you need to have something to support that. It's not like you're going to get some benefit from removing a bunch of +1/+1 counters from their stuff like you might in some sets.
Yeah, but
Like
more often than not, I think we keep saying that the blight is a benefit because that's an
yeah.
archetype, but I think that's also a little magical Christmas land. I think a lot
Oh,
of
I
people are
agree.
going to be blighting their creatures as a payment to make their other card better, and their 2/3s are going to be, you know, O1s for however long. And these things are going to be beneficial. I think this is 23rd playable. I'm going to call this a 4. I think it will see some play, but I'm not usually going to be happy about it, and I'm more interested in a sideboard.
Agreed.
The last couple of formats have been slower, so I'm also willing to give it a benefit of the doubt. I think Wizards have sort of slowed their roll a little bit when it comes to juicing a format to where it's over by turn 3.
I hope so.
And it's gotten much better. Like since All Will Be One, I've been feeling happier. I've been
I
throwing
mean,
dirt at people more.
Amonkhet would have been a step up from All Will Be One, and that format was over on turn 3 most of the time.
Uh, re uh, Requiting Hex,
Requiting, I
Requiting
think.
Hex.
Like it's like
I don't.
unrequited love.
I do know. I've heard that. I've just never read it. I've
Yeah.
never read that word before. So
I don't think I've ever seen it in the
in
gerund form either.
yeah, so I should have, as soon as I looked at it, I should have had the word come to mind, but just sounding it out, I was like,
No.
that's a weird. Yeah. 1 mana for an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you can blight 1. Destroy target creature with mana value 2 or less. If the spell's additional cost was paid, gain 2 life.
Okay, can I just say we mentioned this a little bit in one of our other color set reviews. I don't understand the random gain life stuff tacked onto things in this set. It seems to be happening a lot, and there's no theme for that.
I agree, but there was recently, I think it was a white removal spell a couple of sets ago, 2-3 sets ago. I mean, at this point, like a year goes like 7 sets ago, but I don't really remember.
Yeah.
And it just like randomly gained you 3 life. It was like destroy an attacking creature, gain 3.
Sure.
I don't remember what it was, but it was actually kind of game changing. And the number of times that card, the gain life side of it, swung a game was actually quite high. So while I do find it kind of random, and it's like, oh, it's like better than not gaining life, I think it's actually better than we're giving it credit for.
Maybe. I always find random life gain is just whatever.
Yeah, I think I've seen 1 or 2 instances in the recent year of where it elevated the card to a higher rating for sure. So I think it's going to be good. Yeah, I think this is, you're just blighting 1, mana value 2 or less. That's a little low. So I'm certainly happy to run like 1 of these, but not 2. And even then it's like still pretty okay. Especially if I want to be blighting, like in Orzhov, I think I'm more excited because anything 2 power, you want to blight as well, so you get the value. I think this is like a 5.
I think so too. You're not going to play too many of these because
I think I'm avoiding it in some decks, and then in others I'm pretty actively happy. And then also you can always sideboard these for more aggressive decks.
Definitely.
All right, next up, a 3 mana 4/2 goblin. When this creature dies, if it had a -1/-1 counter, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it loses all abilities. Okay, so that's just a goblin blight sacrifice fodder.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm chuckling at the flavor text on this card.
I told you I taste terrible. And he's all slimy and gross.
Yeah.
That's very cute. Yeah, this is what the deck wants to be doing. Any black is going to want to do this, even if you're not goblins, so I think that's fine. It comes back. It's a free target.
Yeah, it's a great place to blight on too.
Yeah. And it trades up really well. Relevant creature type. That seems valuable.
It trades up, but right, we only if you kind of don't have the counters on it. And then you don't get the return.
What do you mean?
Right? This creature, like, it probably only really trades up if it's still a 4/2.
Yeah, that's true. I think I'm fine with it. 5.5,
Yeah.
6
Yep.
in goblins.
That sounds fair.
Honestly,
Probably pretty good in Orzhov too.
no, because you want to put the blight counters on the trees.
You won't always have the trees.
Shut your mouth. I will have my trees.
I
If
can't wait
I
for the
swear, if I find that white tree, pack one, pick one first day of early access, I'm taking it.
I can't wait for the first time you have the tree in play on Arena and you see them start hovering over it. You start yelling, "Don't touch! No touch! No
No
touching!"
touching my tree. 2 mana for a 2/2 with lifelink. It's an elf. When this creature enters, mill 2 cards. That feels like what my elves are supposed to be doing. I'm gonna start playing a 50-card elf deck for sure because I'm scared. But yeah, this seems like a fine thing to do. It's a 5.
It's a 5. Yep.
It's not
It's the bear.
exciting. It's not the kind of thing I want to play if I'm not elves, but
For sure.
lifelink's nice. A 1 mana instant. Target creature you control gains death touch and lifelink till end of turn. When the creature dies, you get to make a 2/2 elf. I haven't seen this card in a while. The like death touch trick. That's been a minute since that's been printed, and they've always been okay. As a one of, and especially because this replaces itself a little bit. So I'm gonna say that's like a 5.
I think it's a 5.
I'm playing one some number, like about half the time, and then I'm cutting it the other half, so it's fine. Shimmer Creep. 5 mana for a 3/5 with Menace and Vivid. When this creature enters, each opponent loses X and you gain X, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. This was in the precon. You guys should watch our Lorwyn early access event next episode next Monday on the Decked Out channel. That said, it's got Menace. It's a 3/5 with Menace. It's gonna gain and drain like 3.
2 to 3, yeah.
I do think that there's a 5-color Vivid deck it's hard to evaluate that. I have no idea if it's going to be any good. I assume it's not, just because there isn't enough things that do it. Having one cycle throughout is not good enough, especially at uncommon. So I'm sure that deck exists, like shrines. You know what I mean? You can try to draft it. Sometimes it comes together and it's very good, but most of the time you just don't get enough.
You can try to draft it, and then all the shrines end up in like the bottom 20 cards in limited.
I packed one, pick one, a shrine, an avatar, and just didn't work. It's just I never saw a shrine. I was like, okay, well, I guess it's not working. This feels very mediocre. I'm gonna say it's a 4.5.
I think so. That it'll get a little boost in 2 HG because it's each opponent.
That's true. And honestly, a 3/5 with Menace for 5 is fine. If you don't have a lot of 5 drops, you can just play this. Hopefully you have something more exciting.
Exactly.
Taster of Wares, 3 mana for a card with a fuck ton of text. It's a 3/2 goblin. When this creature enters, target opponent reveals X cards from their hand, where X is the number of goblins you control. You choose one of those cards, that player exiles it. If an instant or sorcery card is exiled that way, you may cast it for as long as you control this creature. And mana spent of any color. 3 mana, 2/3 is fine. That lets you look at your opponent's hand. It's a good creature type. This is a 6.
Yeah, so what? You're guaranteed to basically get a 2-for-1 with this, because even if it's the only goblin, they still have to reveal one card and it gets exiled.
And it gets exiled, yeah.
It's not like it's non-land and they can just show you a land and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. So it might be a little higher, and I think it's like a 6 in the average, and then maybe higher in a goblin deck.
Yeah, I think on turn, if you can, on curve, you're probably not getting this for more than X equals 2, but you don't have to play it on curve. So it could definitely be, X equals 4, and then you're going to probably get something good and maybe even a spell.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced I'm going to have enough goblins in a not goblin deck. I'm having the same problem with this as I did with the 5/5. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to be as easy to make this be more than 1 or 2. I still like it. I think it's like a 6, but in Rakdos, I think that card's excellent.
mean, this is the 10th goblin we've seen in black.
And they're not very good. Like they're not.
No, I'm just saying quantity wise. There's, I mean, we thought there were a lot of Kithkin. There were 12 Kithkins, only a couple more.
But they were better on their
And I'm
own.
saying, and by Kithkin and goblins, I'm including things that make those tokens or
Yeah.
anything that makes Kithkin. So like I'm counting like a Johnny in that.
But they were
'cause it makes
better.
Kithkin.
Like
Yeah.
you wanted to run them. So it's sort of like Avatar with allies, right? The allies were all just good enough to be running. So it was like kind of hard to make the ally deck because they were all very good. And so you wanted to run them, so you were able to draft them early. Whereas like a lot of these shitty goblins, you have to there's something really good has to come by to make me want to be in the goblin business. So I feel like I'm just gonna pass a bunch of the goblins.
That's goblins. They're always bad. And then together,
They're still
they
not
sacrifice
great.
each other and they hate each other, so they're still not very good. But
3 mana for a 3/3. When this creature enters, surveil 2. Whenever one or more other creatures you control enter, if they entered or were cast from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of them. It triggers only once each turn. Wow, that makes that graveyard recursion spell pretty cool. The 5-drop.
it also is probably the first thing that really makes me think that is truly what elves is going to be doing, getting stuff out of your graveyard, because otherwise that's really specific.
I think they are, because all of the elves have been milling yourself. I think there's going to be a lot of graveyard interaction here.
Yeah, I kind of thought with the mill that maybe it was just like it cared about X elves in your graveyard or something like that. This is the first thing that really makes me think that it's going to be bringing things out of the graveyard.
Except for the fact that it's Golgari.
Yeah, but Golgari always its graveyard matters. It's not always recursion.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but there's
like,
always
sometimes it's like delirium, right? It's like that sort of thing is what it cares about.
In limited, okay, what is it more likely to be? Bring something back or delirium? Like,
well, the problem is bring something back in limited is usually terrible because it's always massively overcosted.
I don't know. That fucking true ancestry card is a beating. Holy shit. Anyway, does this goblin go to the graveyard? But it's not cast, right? How does that work?
No, yeah, this would enter from the graveyard.
But how does the elf read? Does it have to be entered or casted?
If they entered or were cast from a graveyard.
Okay, so then that I would get a second copy of that. That's cool.
Yes, and the copy would just be a 4/2, I believe. With the ability, although it doesn't matter because it's a token, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I just want to know if there's like a common thing that can happen and trigger on its own for like value.
Sure.
Without needing to have a spell that recurs something out of the graveyard, which you have to have a target in the graveyard, yada yada yada. So there are cute little things that return themselves, or I don't know, like there's like a a skeleton or whatever that brings itself back out every time. So you could just like make a little 1/1 token as a bonus. I think this card is solid. It's a 3/3 for 3. Surveil is really nice. This looks like, even in a deck that doesn't support this heavily, there's going to be probably something, I think, that will bring itself back out of the graveyard, and it's a fine creature on its own, so it's a bit of a split card.
I think so, and I mean, even I think most decks, we've gone through pretty much all of black, and there's only been a couple things that get stuff back from the yard. So you're probably going to have a couple effects that do that. Maybe in Golgari you'll have like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like a 5
mostly,
or...
Like mostly this is just a 3/3 surveil too with the relevant creature type.
Which I think is a 5 for me.
Yep. I think so.
And then it's got some upside if you can find the stuff, which... I think there will be enough here to think that you can get likely something in any deck, at least like one thing, whether you find it, I don't know. But, if once you start to get to 3 or 4, then this becomes excellent.
Yep.
And that includes that little shitty goblin, right? Like anything that brings itself back, so.
And here's one more.
Choose one, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand.
Never mind, that wouldn't work.
It doesn't work with the...
No, but it's more graveyard.
but it
shenanigans.
is more graveyard shenanigans for all of the self-mill, and this is the kind of card I would have expected to see. Yeah, and I expect to see some more in green as well. So I think this card is good. I like card advantage. Um, Typically, this card is actually not great. Like the Macabre Waltz-esque cards, I always value them very highly as like black card draw, but they always underperform my expectations. So I think this is going to be playable, but I don't think it's going to be phenomenal. It's probably like a 5.5 just based on my experience with this card like design space before.
So I'm going to give it a 6 because I actually think, and granted, I cut these a lot, but I always feel like when I play against them, they just beat me.
Yeah, me too. But there's tons of times where I play it and I still just don't win.
Yeah.
And looking at like the Macabre Waltz esque like 17 land stats, I always feel very good playing them, and I always feel like they beat me, but they are always rated poorly.
Now I will say I think most of them in the past, either they had a cost like Macabre Waltz where you had to discard, or they were 3 mana.
Yeah, but oftentimes they don't care about like creature types, right? So you're
No,
always getting
that
two, whereas this is sometimes if you don't have two creatures that match, you're only getting the one.
yep,
So it's also got
which
like a
yeah,
downside there.
it does.
Um, okay, 5.5 or 6. Like I said, my heart
Yep.
tells me 6 as well. My heart tells me like 6.5, but I'm just going based on like prior stuff. So I think I could go either way on that. I like your rating as well. That's it for black. This one was a bit long. I feel like these cards were a bit more text and difficult to evaluate. This seems way less straightforward. I'm less happy with goblins than I was any of the other typals so far. Uh, Elves seem reasonably low supported. Like there was a handful of elves, but it wasn't like payoff
Late
elves.
arrival.
We'll see those
How
in
does
green
black
though.
stack up to blue?
I think the weird thing with black is that you probably have the lesser half of both creature types that it
I think
supports.
that's fair. Red goblins, green elves, that
And,
totally
yeah,
makes sense. And also fairies. This has like a 3 creature type,
exactly.
cross section. So it makes sense that it would be overall less.
Yeah.
That said, make sure you guys leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys thought of all the black cards here for Lorwyn. And again, thank you guys for joining us for day 12 of the 365 challenge. Your support really does mean the world to me. And we will see you guys tomorrow for day 13 and all of the red cards. Bye, my friends.